Thank you. I will now call to order the Arvada City Council meeting for January 28, 2024. Happy New Year, everyone. Ms. Rush, if you'll do the roll call. Oh, sorry, real quick. I'm out of order. First, I will call upon Councilmember Ambrose for the Pledge of Allegiance and moment of silent reflection.
You join me for a moment of silence? Please rise as we recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Now, Ms. Rush, if you would do the roll call.
Mayor Simpson?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Werner?
Here.
Councilmember Ambrose?
Here.
Councilmember Davis? Here. Councilmember
Here.
Beret?
Here.
Councilmember Piper?
Here.
Councilmember Marriott?
Here.
Thank you so much. Now we will move on to the approval of the minutes for December 18, 2023. Are there any edits or corrections, changes? Seeing none, those will stand approved. And then we will move on to recognitions and proclamations. Councilmember Foray.
Yes, this is a proclamation for Radon. Is there anyone here to accept it? No? All right. I will read it. Here we go. Whereas radon is a naturally occurring, invisible, odorless, radioactive gas that threatens the health for our citizens and their families. And whereas radon is the second leading cause of lung cancer and leading cause among non-smokers in the U.S. And whereas the Colorado Rocky Mountain region has been ranked Zone 1, an area with the highest radon potential possible for the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. Whereas recent residential radon testing has shown that more than half of Jefferson County homes tested are at or above the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency radon action level of 4.0 PCI/L. And whereas testing for radon is easy and inexpensive and identified radon problems can be fixed. And whereas Jefferson County Public Health and Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment and the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency and the American Lung Association are supporting efforts to encourage Americans to test their homes for radon, have elevated levels of radon reduced, and have new homes built with radon-resistant features. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Mayor and City Council of Arvada, Colorado, that January 1st through 31st, 2024, be proclaimed as official National Radon Action Month in Arvada, Colorado, dated this 8th day of January 2024. Should we clap?
We can clap. Sure.
All right, we'll clap for it. Clap for radon.
Radon is bad. All right. Thank you so much. And we have no presentations this evening, so we will move into public comment. These are going to be public items for public comment on items not scheduled on this evening's agenda. This is your opportunity to address City Council. We will not react. However, if your comment requires follow-up, our city team will be in touch with you. So first, I would like to call up Julie Hogan.
Say thank you and Happy New Year to everyone, and especially congratulations to Mayor Simpson and all the new faces on the Arvada City Council. And thank you for letting us have a moment of your time tonight. And the topic is 5950 McIntyre, which is a warehouse proposed development in Jefferson County, unincorporated Jefferson County, but there's a lot of involvement by the City of Arvada and Arvada residents because it will have a lot of impacts for a long, long time. So I'm here to ask that you continue your engagement concerning this project and dialogue with Jefferson County. And there are two pending applications still. One involves moving the Farmers Highline Canal to allow for more acreage to make the building larger, and that's the building that actually comes right up to the Arvada property line. The Westwood Villas and the Lakes of Westwood's homes are directly affected to the north. The other is for the site development plan, which calls for 3 large distribution warehouses 32 feet of interior height, 44 feet exterior height. These are massive, and they're going to sit on the western shore of Hyatt Lake. This will obviously impact views. And then, of course, the other design feature is 144 truck bays. So with that, and we appreciate that Arvada asked for a different transportation study than the one submitted to Jefferson County. That has happened, but only in the last 2 weeks. So I would encourage, and there is a deadline. This Wednesday, January 10th, is what the county has asked for all comments on this particular project and to follow up on the previous first referral comments. So we want to thank you. The Arvada residents appreciate the time invested already, things already commented on that were very important for Arvada residents. So we appreciate that, but there's a whole lot of new documentation, revised plans, many things now in that citizen portal at Jeffco to review, and there's not a lot of time to do it. So we will thank you, and we will certainly request that perhaps the county might grant Arvada a little more time to do those reviews. The last thing I wanted to mention is and this goes part and parcel with the transportation study. Arvada had suggested that if this project had been in the city of Arvada, it would be classified as a heavy logistics center. So with that, it would require, for instance, a greater buffer between Arvada residents and the structures themselves. So right now, we're looking at about less than 25 feet between the home and the either retaining wall or the warehouse actual exterior. So this is one great concern for Arvada residents. I'm here with two others from McIntyre Neighbors United. Over the course of the last few months, we've had over 5,000 signatures on petitions with residents stating concerns about this project. Of those 5,000, I want to say that probably the majority are Arvada residents. I am an Arvada resident, and I live 1 mile just west of what this project will be. And as we mentioned to others, we know that the truck traffic, they're saying that there's 927 trips in and out of this site anticipated. I can tell you that if you have 144 truck bays, that there will be hundreds of truck trips in and out daily. And we see a difficulty because the trucks have to either go north or south out of the site. To go north puts them in Arvada into very congested intersections, 64th and McIntyre, and also I can imagine it's going to be quite difficult for Arvada at Indiana and 64th. So these are areas I hope Arvada will use the influence that you have, the ability to talk to the county officials, and we truly hope too that maybe even involve some direct dialogue with the applicants. We will be very grateful if you could, and the time is of the essence.
Thank you.
Thanks
We
so much.
appreciate it. Next, we have Judy Dane.
I'm Judy Dane. I'm also with McIntyre Neighbors United. I live on the south shore of Hyatt Lake. Once we heard that the county was going to have their second referral deadline of January 10th, we took another look at the project documents, and we see three main Arvada issues. One is that when permission was given by the city of Arvada for the canal relocation, the planning department sent us a memo that said that it was not in the waters of the U.S. Subsequently, the U.S. Army Corps did deem that the canal is waters of the U.S., and it requires the Clean Water Act 404 permit. Because City of Arvada did not require a permit, that portion of the development was not submitted to the U.S. Army Corps for that permit review. So right now, we believe that the City of Arvada needs to issue a permit for the canal relocation in order to get the proper U.S. Army Corps review done. The second issue is really possessory. It's more of an administrative issue. The property development that I'm talking about on our City of Arvada is on a Lot D, and that has an easement for Farmers Highline Canal, and it can be assigned, but we have seen no documentation that gives that permission to the developer Constellation. So we believe there is a document missing that gives permission for the developer to work on that property. Lot E may need an access easement for the developer as well. You can only access Lot D from the site development area or from Lot E, which is on 63rd. The final issue is the biggest one. We see a problem with allowing the development. It's been segmented. There is a question of whether the developer can put increased water flow into Lake Hyatt. Hyatt Lake Dam is a high hazard lake, and its level is restricted at 14 feet currently. Right now, it's at 13 feet. We don't know why, but the dam inspection is this week. We don't see any studies for how this source of new flow into the lake is going to have an impact on the City of Arvada properties that are downstream from this. The 100-year floodplain and the inundation plan need to be updated and take a look at the increased flow from this. But I think the bottom line is, because the projects were segmented, I don't think any permit should be approved until there is an approved plan for the spillway, which is where the only way the water can get out of the lake. Right now, it's just not a good plan to assume that there's going to be a spillway. That's it. I'm going to have Ann come up
Thank you
next
so
and
much.
talk to you.
Ann LaFoon.
I just want to echo what Julie and Judy said. Congratulations to the new faces. Happy New Year. Congratulations, Mayor Simpson. We're delighted to see the new council, and thanks for your time tonight. It's so fitting that Commissioner Frey read the radon announcement, because one of the issues that the city raised was the need for Phase 2 environmental testing on this site. The required tests for radons, the required geological tests, have not been submitted, and we would very much hope that the city would take this opportunity to reiterate in this next review of the proposal the need for Phase 2 environmental testing. A large portion of this property has never been tested, and a nickel laterite plant was on this site, and there's the possibility of buried TCE tanks on the site as well, and we think that all of Arvada would benefit from knowing for sure what the environmental risks are, that regulations of brownfields are being met and enforced by the county. Second, I just wanted to say that this neighborhood group, McIntyre Neighbors United, we were formed because we had to form to protect Arvada residents and residents in unincorporated Jefferson County. We asked the developer to meet with us. We asked for a good neighbor agreement to make sure that light industrial standards were met, and they refused to engage in any kind of restriction on truck trips, round-the-clock operations, and to comply with state and county noise ordinances, which they will not be able to comply with if they do lease to a heavy trucking industry because of the proximity of the neighbors, 25 feet from the retaining wall or the first area of this development. We don't stand alone today, however. The Colorado Parks and Wildlife Department has submitted comments that they're very concerned about this development. The Arvada Historical Society has submitted comments that they're very concerned about preservation issues and development of this site and moving of the Farmers Highland Canal, an historic structure, to allow this development. And the Jefferson County Historical Commission is also is very concerned about moving the canal to make room for this large industrial development, because the Farmers Highland Canal is an historic structure which none of it has been changed. It was the first ditch in Arapa in Jefferson County. And the Ralston Pioneer Cemetery, as well as the first settlement by Mr. Ralston, who discovered gold here in Arvada, often credited with the first discovery of gold, is right on the border of this property. The city has suggested that we have a heritage trail to mark the pioneer and the mining and the agricultural history, and we think that that would also be advisable, and we hope that the city does meet with the developer to raise your concerns. So again, thank you so much. We're just one part of many people who are concerned about the development.
Thank you. And we will welcome next Judy Douglas.
Thanks. I'd like to talk to you about extreme weather and how it affects the unhoused. Something that has changed in my lifetime is the increased probability of extreme weather. There isn't an official definition of extreme weather, but in December 2022, Jefferson County experienced temperatures with a low of -24 and daytime highs of -6. Common sense tells us that these temperatures are deadly for the unhoused. As you know, the Severe Weather Shelter provides overnight housing and meals for people experiencing homelessness when the temperature drops below 20 if there's no snow and below 32 if there is snow. This housing begins at 7 p.m. and the guests are required to leave at 7 a.m. The shelters are run by volunteers who usually have to leave at 7 a.m. also for family or jobs. There are 3 sites, 2 in Lakewood and 1 in Evergreen, that make up the Severe Weather Network. And as you know, there are no shelters in Jefferson County, with the exception of a small shelter on Colfax that is a respite center for people unhoused who are released from the hospital. Last December, the county came up with a blueprint for extreme weather. The blueprint specified the need very clearly, but not a plan or a budget for addressing these needs. Since then, the cities of Lakewood and Westminster have both designated a location and staff plan for day shelter in extreme weather. To my knowledge, Arvada does not have a plan, and there is no plan to notify either the unhoused or concerned citizens where unhoused should go and where to get there, especially if RTD is not operating. I'm assuming that the police have a limited number of vouchers, but that's an extra responsibility for the police, and I'm sure there's not enough vouchers to when all of us are going to be needing assistance during that time. What I'm proposing is that the City Council plan in advance of any upcoming extreme weather so that as soon as it's predicted, there's a plan in place to notify people where to go for shelter and transportation for getting there if there's buses aren't running. This advanced planning might save lives. For my part, my advocacy group at my church will continue to press the county to also step up. We also dedicate ourselves to not only helping with the needs of the unsheltered, but more importantly, to work towards systemic change to address this multifaceted problem of the homeless. But tomorrow's extreme weather can't be kicked down the road. If it's 10 degrees during the day and I see a homeless person, I only want a way for that person to survive. So thanks for listening, and I hope that you'll consider this problem. Thanks.
Thank you so much. All right. Ms. Rush, do we have anyone on Zoom?
Yes, we have Mindy Moore.
All right. Please go ahead and put it up on the screen.
Go ahead, Mindy.
I'm trying to start my video, but it's not working, so I'll just go ahead and speak.
Perfect. Go ahead, Mindy.
First, I want to echo the excellent comments from Judy Douglas about the need for not just Jefferson County, but Arvada to consider shelter for people during extreme weather. We can't just rely on the Severe Weather Shelter Network. But my comments tonight actually deal with another issue. I know in the news today that the American Red Cross has declared a nationwide emergency due to critically low blood supplies. Donations are at the lowest levels in decades. I myself relied upon donated blood and plasma just last month when I was in the intensive care unit. I'm so grateful to all the blood donors out there. I'm here tonight to ask if the city of Arvada will consider sponsoring a blood drive with the Red Cross, perhaps in or near City Hall. You have many Arvada government employees who could be asked to consider to donate blood while they're at work, and you could also invite community members to donate. This would be a wonderful way to support the health of your residents, the Red Cross, encourage civic action, and you could even invite residents to come drive on the newly finished Ralston Road to donate at City Hall. What a great public service this would be, and January is National Blood Donor Month. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mindy. Is there anyone else in chambers who would like to speak with us this evening? Seeing none, I will close the public comment portion of the agenda and move us into new business. First, our consent agenda. On the consent agenda this evening, we have 4 items, beginning with R24-001, a resolution designating a public place for the posting of notice for meetings for all boards, commissions, and committees of the City Council of the City of Arvada for the year 2024. R24-02, a resolution authorizing an agreement by and between the City of Arvada and Garney Companies, Inc. for the Ralston 3.5 mg tank baffling project number 23-WA-10 in an amount not to exceed $628,000. R24-003, a resolution authorizing the issuance of blanket purchase order in the amount of $950,000 to Synergy Petroleum LLC for the purchase of fuel used in city vehicles and equipment. And finally, R24-004, a resolution authorizing the acceptance of a donation in the amount of $443,541 from Pools for Kids, Inc. to the Myers Pool Replacement Facility. Do I have a motion for adopting the consent agenda? Councilmember Foray.
Yes, I'll make the motion. I move that R24-001 through R24-004 be approved.
All right. Thank you. All votes are cast. That passes 7-0. Thank you, everybody. Next, we will open it up to resolutions, and we'll call the item R24-005, a resolution authorizing acceptance of the triennial determination for the continuation of the Rocky Flats Stewardship Council. Ms. Himmler, I believe, is presenting this evening.
Good evening, members of council. This resolution relates to Arvada's participation in the Rocky Flats Stewardship Council. This council was formed back in 2006. It tracks ongoing monitoring and discussion of activities at Rocky Flats Site Central Operation Unit in the National Wildlife Refuge. It was formed through an intergovernmental agreement and includes Boulder County, Jefferson County, the cities of Boulder, Broomfield, Westminster, North Glen, Thornton, and the town of Superior. This particular IGA terminates if all parties do not agree that the IGA or the Stewardship Council should continue. So it sets it up so that every 3 years, each party to the IGA has to vote whether to continue its participation in the IGA. So what this resolution is asking council to do is to approve the continued participation in the Stewardship Council through this IGA, and that approval of that participation keeps Arvada in the IGA for another 3 years, for up to 2027. At that time, the process repeats, and we may come back and ask for your approval again. Currently, Mayor Pro Tem Mormon will be Arvada's representative to the Stewardship Council. Based on this information, city staff recommends that you approve this resolution.
I'll entertain a motion. Councilmember Mormon.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that R24-005, a resolution authorizing acceptance of the triennial determination for the continuation of the Rocky Flats Stewardship Council, February 2024 to 2027, be approved, and I do have a comment to make.
All right, please.
As a representative of the city in this council, on the Stewardship Council, appreciate your support in this motion tonight. I think that the Stewardship Council does play a very vital role for our community in engaging our residents and understanding the history of Rocky Flats, as well as ongoing questions that we may receive from our constituents about safety issues and other things that may come up related to that. So, excuse me, I appreciate your support tonight and continuing that. I will also say that the council, the Rocky Flats Stewardship Council, has had some recent conversations, which I've been part of, about evaluating the future of this council and the vision and the mission of it, and if that we're going to be taking some actions this year to kind of do some strategic planning and evaluating if we are serving those purposes that this council was set out to do, and to determine if we are to continue and what path that may look like. So we are undergoing that process. So thank you again for your support tonight.
Thank you. If you will cast your vote. All right, all votes are cast, and that passes 7-0. Thank you so much. Next, we have R24-006, a resolution approving an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Arvada and the Colorado Department of Local Affairs of Housing to support homelessness services. And Ms. Espinoza, I believe you're presenting this item.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. This agenda item is related to a $1,914,000 grant the city was awarded from the Colorado Division of Housing. The purpose of this grant is to support the city's efforts to address homelessness, such as offering emergency shelter through a partnership with nearby motels, street outreach services, and bridge housing that includes case management services. This grant covers a 3-year period starting in 2024 and runs through 2026. The breakdown of the award per activity was included in your agenda packet tonight. The city received this funding agreement from the Division of Housing for signature. The city team recommends approval of this resolution to enter into an intergovernmental agreement with the Division of Housing.
Perfect. I'll entertain a motion. Or any questions for Councilmember Marriott?
A couple questions for you. I see in the description that we're going to spend out of this grant $150,000 over the course of 3 years for what's called street outreach.
Right.
Can you tell us a little more detail about how you're going to do that? What's the plan for going about that?
The plan is to issue an RFP to solicit a nonprofit organization to take on the street outreach services.
Okay.
The idea is we don't want someone to go out and conduct street outreach on their own, so we're hoping to have a team of 2 individuals from a nonprofit go out in the community 2 mornings a week to do street outreach. Their data will be entered into the homeless management information system. That's a requirement from the grant, so we can continue to observe and monitor the progress of their efforts.
Okay. Is there any chance you would use the Rising Church to do that?
We have to RFP it. They could certainly submit an application for it. I don't know what their experience is, though, with street outreach services.
Okay. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to spend about $1 million over 3 years on emergency sheltering. So I assume that's motel vouchers.
That is.
Okay. Which motels are you going to use?
That's yet to be determined. We need to form a partnership with one of the motels, so we will be reaching out to see who's of interest.
Is there any chance you can use the Savannah Suites that's in Arvada versus motels that are outside of Arvada?
It's possible. I don't know their interest. We did partner with Savannah Suites in the past, especially during COVID. They were a strong partner of ours. They have, however, new ownership, and I don't know if the new owners are of interest in continuing that partnership. We've been getting some mixed reactions from them.
Where have you used this type of money on motels before?
We typically use the motels around the I-70 and Kipling interchange. The Super 8 Motel is a strong partner of ours, the Apple Inn, and the Best Interstate Inn.
Mm-hmm. And I would assume other cities are getting this same grant around, and I would assume they're trying to use the same place.
We do.
Do we care about concentrating all of the homeless into one place or not?
The idea with this grant is while people would be concentrated, they're concentrated there now. We are using those motels during severe weather nights. But with this particular grant, it's not related just to severe weather. So we can put someone in there up to a 29-day stay, and our hope at that time is to engage them with services. We will have service providers out there to connect with them. Our navigators will be out there on a regular basis to try and get them connected to services. So at that 30-day point of their stay, they're ready to make the next step in their journey.
Is there any is there any talk or concern at all about concentrating them all into one place, or is that not really, this is all just so emergent and on the fly that whatever's whatever? And
I haven't heard any concerns about concentration. The motels, the management staff there, they communicate any concerns that they have with us, and we jump in as needed, but we haven't even received those complaints on a regular basis. I just have not heard any of that type of feedback.
Okay. And then the last thing you're going to do is spend about $750,000 over 3 years for what you're calling bridge housing, which sounds like just more motel vouchers.
It is. This is a little different, though, in that bridge housing is meant for someone who has a permanent housing solution in their hands, such as a housing, a housing voucher. And within the next week or several weeks, they plan on moving into permanent housing. But those few weeks that lead up to that transition into permanent housing, it's critical for us to be meeting with that person, getting documents signed, meeting with landlords. And so it's helpful for us to have that person in one place where we can access them. It gives them a period of stability as well before moving them into that that permanent solution into that apartment or whatever that solution might be. So we found it to be a very effective way of giving them some stability before that permanent housing comes into play.
When you do this, I'm assuming you're doing this function already.
We are.
When you're doing this function already, where are they now?
They're at the motels. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That's. Let me ask a couple more questions. And so, this grant. When will we receive this grant, and when will these activities start?
Well, once the agreement is executed, we can start to have conversations with DOLA about who the RFPs, how we're going to go about that. They want to be involved in those steps before we execute any agreements with partners. So we'll have more conversations with DOLA. We'll execute or publish RFPs to solicit possible partners in this. So it will take a little bit of time to get this going. I would expect a couple of months.
Months, okay. And then how is it that, what's the who and how are you going to determine how you do these things? In other words, somebody's going to have to decide, here's who's doing our street outreach. Somebody's going to decide, here's how many vouchers we're buying, and here's who we're giving them to, and here's who we're deeming as needing bridge housing versus whatever and whatever. Who's going to do that, and how are you going to go about doing that?
For the RFPs, anytime we do post an RFP, we put together a committee to review the applications to determine who scores the highest, who meets the needs that we're looking for. For the bridge housing or the emergency shelter, we need to create policies and procedures outlining those steps of who's going to take priority over someone else. So that's yet a piece of this that we have to put together.
Mm-hmm. And will we see any of that stuff, or is that all internal just for you guys to do as an operational thing?
I'm happy to share that as we get that created.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you. Councilmember Frey.
Just one question, and I can make the motion. Is there, in that grant, was there any availability to do any eviction prevention?
There was, and in conversations with Jefferson County is really interested in taking the lead with eviction prevention services. Okay. So we stepped aside to allow them to do that. They're doing great work now. We didn't see any need to interfere with that.
Okay, thanks. Mm-hmm. All right, I move that R24-006, a resolution approving an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Arvada and the Colorado Department of Local Affairs, Division of Housing to support homelessness services be approved.
All right. Councilmember Marriott, you have a comment?
Yeah, I want to make a comment before I vote on this. So I think congratulations on getting this grant. I think, getting this kind of money helps. I think, like we see with a lot of things that go on with government, knee-jerk reactions to things are not always yield the best results. And, this homeless stuff, it seems like everybody's in a reactionary mode. Oh my God, what do we do? What do we do now? And so I want to just ask you guys to be thoughtful about what you do. Consider more than just the individual who gets something for free. Consider the citizens of Arvada that we all represent. Consider the neighbors, the other people who are affected by these types of actions. Consider the unintended consequences of some of this stuff. And I'd further like to ask you to don't use the Rising Church for street outreach. I think they consistently show a lack of caring about how their actions impact their neighbors, the businesses around them, and further bolstering their offerings and further embedding these types of programs within them makes it even more difficult for them to move at some point in the future, which absolutely has to happen at some point. So as you go forward and develop how you're going to expend this money and how and issue RFPs and stuff like that, I'm going to be really, really disappointed if the Rising Church receives $150,000 to perform street outreach, whatever that is, further embedding, further creating the problems that we have in Old Town with the businesses, the residents, the visitors, the schools in Old Town that currently exist. And I think it's a reasonable request to just ask that in this particular case, somebody else do that. Unless they can provide a plan of here's how we're going to change our operations to not impact our neighbors. But until they do that, I wouldn't be of a mind to be thinking it's a good idea to further enrich them with these types of things. So that's just my ask.
All right, thank you. All votes are cast. That passes 7-0. Thank you so much. And finally, we will move to R24-007, a resolution authorizing an intergovernmental agreement by and between the City of Arvada and the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development for Community Development Block Grant CDBG funding in the amount of $423,831. So, Ms. Espinoza, this one's also yours.
Thank you. The City of Arvada received its 2023 Community Development Block Grant Funding Agreement from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, or HUD, totaling $423,831. CDBG funding is intended to support economic development, housing, and community development actions that benefit low to moderate income households in the community. The 2023 grant award will be used to support programs such as single-family rehabilitation projects through the Essential Home Repairs Program and the Human Services Grant Program. The city team recommends approval of this resolution to enter into an intergovernmental agreement with HUD.
Are there any council questions or comments? Councilmember Frey.
I'll make the motion.
I see no other lights.
All right, I move that R24-007, a resolution authorizing an intergovernmental agreement by and between the City of Arvada and the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development for Community Development Block Grant CBDG funding in the amount of $423,831 be approved.
All right, if all votes will be cast. Thank you. That passes 7-0. Thank you, everybody. All right, next is first reading of ordinances. Mayor Pro Tem Werman.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that CB 24-001, an ordinance amending various provisions of Arvada's Land Development Code pertaining to floodplain regulation, be approved on first reading, order published in full, and a public hearing set for February 12, 2024 at 6:15 p.m.
Thank you. If council will cast their votes. That passes 7-0. Thank you so much. All right. Next, we are going to be opening the, all right. Got to be opening the public hearings. Got to bang the gavel. There we go. We have several public hearing items tonight relating to Canyon Pines. So I will open the public hearing of the agenda items A through I to start. So it's quite lengthy, everybody. Bear with me. So to open, we have public hearings on ratification and approval of CP 2023-008, a resolution by the Planning Commission for the City of Arvada, Colorado, to amend the 2014 Arvada Comprehensive Plan land use designation pertaining to Canyon Pines Triangle Property Annexation Number 1 from Jefferson County Rural Residential to City of Arvada Low Density Residential, a parcel of land approximately located at 52 Canyon Pines in the County of Jefferson and State of Colorado. Next is R24-008, a resolution setting forth certain findings of fact and conclusions as to the annexation of certain land into the city of Arvada, Colorado, Canyon Pines Triangle property, annexation number 1, a parcel of land generally located at 52 Canyon Pines Drive. Item C is CB 23-030, an ordinance annexing certain land into the city of Arvada for Canyon Pines Triangle property, annexation number 1, a parcel of land approximately located at 52 Canyon Pines in the county of Jefferson and state of Colorado, ordinance number 4863. Item D, CB 23-031, an ordinance rezoning certain land within the city of Arvada from Jefferson County A1 Agriculture 1 to City of Arvada PUD, which is Planned Unit Development, and amending the official zoning maps of the city of Arvada, Colorado, approximately located at 52 Canyon Pines, also known as Canyon Pines Triangle property, annexation number 1. Item E, ratification and approval of CP 2023-0009, a resolution by the Planning Commission for the City of Arvada, Colorado to amend the 2014 Arvada Comprehensive Plan land use designation pertaining to Canyon Pines, Dubrouillard, annexation number 2, from Jefferson County Rural Residential to City of Arvada Low-Density Residential and Public, Quasi-Public, a parcel of land approximately located at, you guessed it, 52 Canyon Pines Drive in the county of Jefferson and state of Colorado. Item F, R24-009, a resolution setting forth certain findings of fact and conclusions as to the annexation of certain land into the city of Arvada, Colorado, Canyon Pines Dubrouillard Pump Station, annexation number 2, a parcel of land generally located at 52 Canyon Pines Drive. Item G, CB 23-032, an ordinance annexing certain land into the city of Arvada for Canyon Pines, Arvada's Dubrouillard Pump Station, annexation number 2, approximately located at 52 Canyon Pines in the county of Jefferson and state of Colorado. Item H, CB 23-033, an ordinance rezoning certain land within the city of Arvada from Jefferson County A-2, Agricultural 2, to City of Arvada Planned Unit Development and Open Space, and amending the official zoning maps of the city of Arvada, Colorado, approximately located at 52 Canyon Pines, also known as Canyon Pines, Arvada's Dubrouillard Pump Station, annexation number 2. And finally, item I, Canyon Pines filing number 1, PUD Development Plan Amendment, and Canyon Pines filing number 2, PUD Development Plan. Rob Smentana, I believe you're on deck for all of them.
Yes, thank you. As you mentioned, the applicant is requesting a number of approvals in order to allow for the development of 2 parcels adjacent to the previously approved Canyon Pines residential project. As you mentioned, a portion of one of the parcels is occupied by a pump station that is to be dedicated to the city. The comprehensive plan amendments are necessary to include the parcels within the city's future land use map and planning area boundaries. The first parcel on the north side of the development, also known as annexation number 1, encompasses approximately 1.2 acres and is proposed to be zoned planned unit development. The second parcel on the east side of the project, annexation number 2, encompasses approximately 2.8 acres and is also proposed to be zoned planned unit development. The pump station is located on that particular parcel. The PUD amendment is necessary to include these parcels within the development plan for the overall Canyon Pines project. The amendment will allow for the addition of 3 new lots within the project, and 2 existing lots will also be reconfigured as part of this amendment. During their November 21st meeting, the Planning Commission unanimously approved the 2 comprehensive plan amendments and unanimously recommended approval of the annexations, rezonings, and PUD development plan amendment. We have received the signed posting log and mailing affidavit, and they are in order. The applicant is in attendance to give a presentation and answer questions, and we also have several members of the city team here to answer questions as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Ms. Rush, or is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak in on this item?
Mayor Simpson, I'll cut in really quick. So what I left out of the script for tonight for this one is to have the applicant, if they would like to, come up and do a presentation related to their project. So
Perfect.
I will just give that
No worries.
instruction here.
We're good. I'd like to invite the applicant up. If If you'll state your name for the record.
Good evening, Mayor, City Councilors. My name is Chad Ellington. I'm with the Canyon Pines Development Team.
Thank you.
My presentation is brief and won't take as long as the reading of the ordinances. But I figured that a picture is always worth 1,000 words anyway. So this is a picture overview of Canyon Pines. Here are the couple of out parcels that Rob and others have mentioned here that are proposed to be annexed in. This is just really a cleanup item to provide the city with the pump station land for their pump station that's been constructed, as well as bring in a couple of other lots that are right adjacent to Canyon Pines and make more sense to have under the same control mechanisms that we have at Canyon Pines in terms of design guidelines, covenant enforcement review, instead of being developed in the county. And so, as Rob mentioned, 3 new lots, the pump station site, and then reconfiguration of the orange area in this map. There's a picture of your pretty new pump station on the DeBruyard property. And another view, it's kind of down there in the lower corner, this kind of looks south along Canyon Pines Drive to your right, and the railroad and Tunnel 1 to your left. Again, just the plat map for these areas showing the size and location, the zoning designations, and here's a pretty picture of Canyon Pines. So as Rob mentioned, Nathan and I are here for any questions that you might have, and happy to entertain those now or later.
Thank you. Before I open it for council questions, now Ms. Fresh, is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak on this agenda item?
No one has signed up.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone from Chambers who would like to speak? Seeing none, I will open it to council questions and a motion. Councilmember Pfeiffer.
If there's not any questions, I'll make the motion.
All right.
So you have to bear with me because the way it's set up on our computers, I have to push a lot of buttons to get where I need to go.
Absolutely. So, and also just for everyone's awareness, we will be taking all of these one at a time, so we will vote on each one individually.
So I'm going to, how the agenda sets up in our new kind of format, I'm going to try to go through it with each motion, so I'll look to the attorney to keep me honest, because I still see CB 24-001 listed, which is not part of this, just so we're clear. Council Bill, right? We're talking about Council Bill 002, is that what we're starting with?
So we're starting with CP 2023-008. So
Okay.
if you go to the agenda, item A.
Yeah.
Councilmember Pfeiffer, do you want my book?
That would be the night. No, I'm going paperless. I'm trying to stick with the paperless thing going on here. Yeah, you got it. I might need somebody to run in and give me some water in the middle of the halftime.
Hold on one second. I'll pass you my papers.
I might have to call for a timeout. So I think I got it. But hold yours up just in case I need a cross-reference. I need multiple screens in the future. I move that Council Bill 2023-0008, a resolution by the Planning Commission for the City of Arvada, Colorado, to amend the 2014 Arvada Comprehensive Plan land use designation pertaining to Canyon Pines Triangle property, Annex Number 1, from Jefferson County Rural Residential to City of Arvada Low Density Residential, a parcel of land approximately located at 52 Canyon Pines Drive in the County of Jefferson and the State of Colorado be ratified. This motion is based on the finding of fact adopted by the Planning Commission. Is that all I think I need to say? Yep.
Yep. All right, Councilmember Ambrose? All right, thank you.
The next one is...
Oh, that item passes 7-0, and now we're ready for that.
Sorry.
You're great.
Now I'm going to, I believe, Resolution 24-008, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So, I move that Resolution 24-008, a resolution setting forth certain findings of fact and conclusion as the annexation of certain land into the City of Arvada, Colorado, Canyon Pines Triangle property, Annex Number 1, generally located at 52 Canyon Pines Drive in the County of Jefferson and the State of Colorado be approved.
Councilmember Marriott, you have requested a comment?
Yes, I'd like to make a comment here, and this applies to all of the actions that we're taking. I'm really glad to see these things before us and these actions that were taken tonight to help finish out making this development happen. I think it's particularly good news that we have this new, very high-end development here in Arvada. You know, we talk lots about development these days, and all the attention seems to be on how cheap can you do development. Well, it's really good when cities have a variety of things developed, including multi-million-dollar homes, and I think this is a good one. This will bring 60 new households to Arvada of different types, and I think that's a really, really good thing. And I think it's especially great for Arvada that this unique property, that's actually mountain property, that's in the city limits of Arvada at the entrance of Coal Creek Canyon and west of Highway 93. I believe this is the only part of Arvada that's west of Highway 93, and I think that's good as well. So I want to congratulate the developer in sticking with this. I know this has been on the books for decades, and seeing this through to fruition and completion is a really good thing. I think it's a really good thing for Arvada, and I think it's going to be a great development. So thanks for doing that.
All right, thank you so much. That item passes 7-0. Councilmember Pfeiffer.
Yeah, I moved that Council Bill 23-030, an ordinance annexing certain land into the city of Arvada for Canyon Pines, Triangle Property Annex Number 1, a parcel of land approximately located at 52 Canyon Pines Drive in the County of Jefferson in the state of Colorado, be approved on final reading number 4863 and ordered published by title only.
Oh, there we go. Cast your votes. Sorry, but Councilmember Ambrose and that passes 7-0. Councilmember Pfeiffer.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and I move that Council Bill 23-031, an ordinance rezoning certain land within the city of Arvada from Jefferson County A1 Agricultural 1 to the City of Arvada PUD Planned Unit Development, and amending the official zoning maps of the City of Arvada, Colorado, approximately located at 52 Canyon Pine Drive, also known as Canyon Pines, Triangle Property Annex Number 1, be approved on final reading number 4864 and order published by title only.
All right, all votes are cast. That passes 7-0. Next one.
I move that Council, or CP, I guess that's Comprehensive Plan, 2023, still scrolling, -0009, a resolution by the Planning Commission for the City of Arvada, Colorado to amend the 2014 Arvada Comprehensive Plan land use designation pertaining to Canyon Pines. What do you call it? Debrouillard?
Debrouillard. It's French.
It's a Canadian thing, isn't it? You do. Annex 1, number 1. From Jefferson County rural residential to the City of Arvada, low-density residential and public, quasi-public, and parcel of land approximately located at 52 Canyon Pine Drive in the County of Jefferson and the State of Colorado be ratified. This motion is based on the finding of fact adopted by the Planning Commission.
All right. All votes are cast. That passes 7-0. Next.
I move that Resolution 24-009, a resolution setting forth certain finding of fact and conclusion as to the annexation of certain land into the City of Arvada, Colorado, Canyon Pines,
Debrouillard.
Did I do a good job? Do my French? Pump station, and Annex Number 2, a parcel of land generally located at 52 Canyon Pines Drive be approved.
Need to roll those R's just a little bit more.
And I have the Hispanic and Mexican, or the Spanish side with the L's with the Y, so that was going on there too.
That passes 7-0.
I move that Council Bill 23-032, an ordinance annexing certain land into the City of Arvada for Canyon Pines, Arvada Pump Station. I'm trying my best. We should have picked a different name. They should have let me pick the name. Annexation Number 2, approximately located at 52 Canyon Pines Drive in the County of Jefferson and State of Colorado, be approved on final reading number 4865 and ordered published by title only. Where did we get that name? Can we have just a quick history?
I would love to take credit for that, but I did not name the Debrouillard parcel. It was named by the prior owner from which I purchased Canyon Pines years ago. He and his wife came up with that. I'll get back to you with the full answer, but it is probably decades old.
I'd be interested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will
I
never
would-
get it right, but I'll try.
And open invitation, if you guys haven't been out to Canyon Pines, come check it out.
We'll
It's
come this weekend.
very much worth seeing, so.
Yeah.
I would love to see it, absolutely. All right, that passes 7-0. All right.
Okay. I move that Council Bill 23-033, an ordinance rezoning certain land within the City of Arvada from Jefferson County A2 Agricultural 2 to City of Arvada PUD Planned Unit Development and OS, which is open space, and amend the official zoning maps of the City of Arvada, Colorado, approximately located at 52 Canyon Pine Drive, also known as Canyon Pines, Arvada's, okay, should I try? Debrouillard?
De Brouillard.
You're closer.
De Brouillard. De Brouillard.
I'm not going to attempt it again. Pump Station, Annex Number 2, be approved on final reading number 4866 and ordered published by title only.
All right, council will cast their votes.
I think we need to do the letters. This last one.
All right,
Oh, wait.
that's 7-0. We have,
Yeah, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so, final resolution, agenda item number I, no more debrouillards to have to say.
Debrouillards. Oh, got close there.
There you
I
go.
move that DA 2023-0005, Canyon Pines filing number 1, PUD development plan amendment, and Canyon Pines filing number 2, PUD development plan at approximately 52 Canyon Pines Drive be approved. This motion is based on the finding of fact adopted by the Planning Commission. Let's make sure.
There we go, all votes are cast. That item passes 7-0. Thank you, Councilmember Pfeiffer, for doing the heavy lift on that one.
No, thank you.
All right, I will now,
Team effort.
it was, great job, everybody. I will now open the public hearing for item J. Public hearing on a substantial amendment to the consolidated strategy of a plan submission for housing and community development programs 2020 through 2024. Underneath this is going to be R24-110, a resolution approving the submission of a substantial amendment to the 2020 to 2024 Consolidated Strategy Plan submission for housing and community development programs. Welcome back, Ms. Espinoza.
Thank you, Mayor. So this agenda item is related to the 2020 through 2024 Consolidated Plan. The city team is interested in reallocating prior year unspent CDBG funding to potentially support an affordable housing rental rehabilitation project in the community. Rental rehabilitation is currently not listed as or identified as a goal in the 5-year consolidated plan, and therefore the city is recommending an amendment to the plan to include it as a goal. Before the city can move forward with amending the plan, the city must first offer an opportunity for the public to provide comment. The city offered a public comment period to the community starting November 20, 2023, and ending on December 20, 2023. The city is also offering the opportunity for the community to comment during a public hearing held this evening. After the public hearing is closed, the city team is recommending approval of a resolution to approve a substantial amendment to the consolidated plan to include rental rehabilitation as a goal.
Thank you. I will, Ms. Rush, is there anyone who wishes to speak on this agenda item? No? I will open it to council comments and action. Councilmember Ambrose.
Yeah, I'm really pleased to see that this is being as a allocated item, because a lot of times the more low-income properties and the landlords who are trying to keep the prices low don't have the capital to improve it to be able to do that, and that's especially a problem in District 2, where there's some properties that are unsafe, but if we just started passing ordinances, they would just pass the expenses on to the people renting it. So I think this is a really great use of funds, and I appreciate the city noticing the gap and finding funding for it.
Thank you.
Are there any council members who have further questions or actions? Nope. All right. Ms. Morris, I don't believe we need an action on this item, correct?
I think we still
Not,
have-
if you can close the public hearing
cool.
period,
Yeah, we'll
Mayor,
close the-
and then you can vote on the resolution.
Perfect. All right, we will close the public hearing portion, and then we will open it up to the resolution. Councilmember Furray.
I can make the motion for that? Yeah. All right. I move that R 2024-010, a resolution approving the submission of a substantial amendment to the 2020 to the 2024 Consolidated Strategy Plan submission for the Housing and Community Development Programs be approved.
All votes are cast. That passes 7-0. Councilmember Davis.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, but this does not go to landlords necessarily, it goes to Foothills Housing Authority?
We are in conversation with Foothills Regional Housing to support one of their projects. When they applied for funding back in September, they were interested in using the funding to support their Parkview Village apartment complex. There's 96 units currently at that property, and it's in need of some renovation, so they're interested in doing that. I spoke with a member of their team last week, and they are interested in possibly using the funding instead at their Viking Square property, so that is something that we are in conversation about, is which property makes more sense. The concerns regarding the Parkview Village property is because of the reporting requirements that are involved with CDBG. The general contractor at Viking Square is more experienced with those requirements, and so they're talking with both of the GCs to see who's a better fit for this funding.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, that closes the public hearing portion of our evening this evening. Next, we have second public comment. Is Ms. Rush, is anyone signed up? No, then I will close the public comment and make it available for council comments. Councilmember Pfeiffer.
Yeah, I just, a couple things, I met with the McIntyre United last week, enjoyed the conversation. I know it's very, a very concern of the neighbors there, and I'll just commit that I continue to listen and be available and do my best to advocate their voice. The second thing is last weekend, there was the Candelas Metro District had a meeting in regards to the special session around the tax property relief. There was about 50 residents in attendance with that board to talk about the impacts to the Metro District based on what the legislators did. Not to get into the sausage making, but the short of it is the Metro District will not be backfilled on their taxes because they did raise it over 15% in preparation of the Gallagher being turned, that they knew that some things could change for them, and so they were kind of trying to get ahead of that. But what ended up hurting the Metro District was, several things, but one of the things that it hurt them was that they were trying to lower the taxes, but there's still a debt obligation that has to be met, and in the formula, the debt obligation mills eroded away from the operating mills, and when that happened, it was about a $400,000 impact to the general budget for the Metro District. The why I bring this up is unfortunately, what I saw there was Metro District, as well as even the city in some aspect, being blamed for raising taxes and causing these issues. And I really want to say it is a combination of things that happen at the state legislators. I'll just tell you, we probably didn't understand the Gallagher when it was, repealed, what the effects that could have had, as well as the effects on all the special districts associated to the action they took in the special session without understanding the full understanding of it. And really it just, again, it put the burden on either the district reducing its general funds and operating expenses, which it did partially, but it also, when it was trying to lower taxes, it come to find, or its mills, it couldn't. And so even when Mr. Marriott said, hey, I urge all governments to cut something, there are governments that really, really tried to lower the mills, and it actually prohibited them to do it. So I really encourage the citizens there to reach out to their state legislators and voice their concerns. This is a one-year knee-jerk reaction. We have to have a long-term sustainable tax thought about this. The state legislators need to be more thoughtful and more strategic in making those decisions and really present a long-term, cross the aisle, both sides agree with what that tax is. So I just want to advocate for that community as well, because I think there was a lot of misinformation as well as a misunderstanding when the closest people to the taxpayer are the ones being blamed for the increase of the taxes. So properties go up, the mills and so forth. We really need to make sure our legislators understand that their voices, that the true constituents, they need to argue with the state legislators, not with the locals. So it was another 2.5-hour meeting with the Canellis residents that took place Saturday. So again, continue to advocate, and tax here in Colorado is a complex thing. We are still the lowest 50th in the states in property tax, but again, I advocate that the state legislators start figuring out a more long-term sustainable solution to our property taxes.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Mormon.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have 2 announcements. This Friday, January 12th, I'll be having my rescheduled coffee chat from when I'd scheduled one in December and had COVID. So we'll be having it this Friday from 2 to 4 at Sweet Bloom Cafe on the corner of Wadsworth and 77th. And so I invite anyone to come and wants to talk about what's going on with the city and have questions or concerns, please bring those forward. And then the other is on the next Friday, January 19th, the Arvada Chamber will be having a community forum on homelessness, and that will be from 8 to 9:30. And there is a registration form, and I think that's $10 now, the fee for that. So I encourage folks to come. I've been involved in some of the planning of that, and so looking forward to that conversation.
All right, thank you. And finally, Councilmember Davis.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to recognize Robert Sondheim. He was a city attorney for the city of Arvada in the 60s. He recently passed away during the holidays. Just some of the highlights for Mr. Sondheim. He argued murder cases. He also worked very hard to preserve over 200 acres of green space, the Crown Hill Open Space Park, and he was very active in North Jeffco Foundation, the Boy Scouts of America, Arvada Chamber of Commerce, and the Jefferson County United Way. I think that it's important that we recognize some of our leaders in the community who have passed. So thank the Sondheim family and our condolences to them.
Thank you for that. Ms. Gillis, do we have any reports from the city manager's office?
Just a couple. First off, I wanted to remind council that the boards and commissions application process closes today. You'll get your books in about 2 weeks, so something to look forward to. As always, we have many applications, as in 150. So we are so lucky to have an active community. Also, reminder, Martin Luther King Day holiday is next Monday. There is no council meeting. We'll be back on the 22nd. And on the 22nd, you'll have 2 workshops, one on financial resilience and one on your budget and fiscal policy.
All right, Ms. Morris?
Nothing from me, Your Honor.
All right, and with that, I will stand adjourned. Everybody go watch a football game that might be on right now.